Welcome to our Rolemaster Actual play session. Ain't No Place for a Hero is a campaign set in the world of Duranarki, the continent of men. A gritty, cutthroat world where politics, sorcery, religion, and commerce are all intertwined and reign supreme. Treachery and murder both come cheap, and characters need to be both smart and ruthless to survive. We hope you enjoy our story, and, as always, may the dice roll in your favor. This is episode 119 of Ain't No Place for a Hero. The party have decided that ensuring their friend Karios is revived and healed is their first priority, and have started on the journey to complete this goal. We rejoin our heroes in the beautiful free city of Kel-Ty-Mon, in the Whispering Balm Clinic, just as their fallen comrade Karios has been brought back from death's dark path. Hello, I'm Chris, otherwise known as GM Chance, and in the words say on screen, welcome to our story. And that story is Ain't No Place for a Hero. Speaking of heroes, there are the 8 heroes, and I'm underscoring the word 8 because it's been a while since one of those images was up on screen. Karios took her first breath in something like, how long has it been? I even checked it. 15 days ago, Karios was slain, and she's back. At the very end of last session, Karios took her first breath in 15 days. Yay, as far as I'm concerned. In a second or two, I'm going to hand over to a pre-recording that the players of the characters up on screen have made about each character. And then after that, as we usually do, we will switch to a bit more information, a bit more teasing out about each character. And we're taking a slightly different course of action to do that this particular evening. Before I do, my habitual, my regular, and my sincere, our sincere thank you to the supporters, to the people that listen in, to the number of subscribers, which is happily constantly growing, and to the people that just provide thoughts or advice or feedback about our game online. It really is appreciated. This is a hobby. We do this for fun. We'd be playing anyway, I guess. And the fact that we can click a few buttons, do a screen record, and share our sessions ultimately with the world is pretty fantastic. And that sense of gratification, I guess, of sharing our story with internet land is enhanced by the feedback and the comments and the kindness, I guess, that have been shown by our viewers. We really do appreciate it, guys, so thank you. Delighted that you're enjoying our stories. What I would say is, as I regularly do, if perhaps this is maybe your second, maybe your third time you've come across one of our tales, maybe you've flicked across one before or whatever, but you've come back to us and you're wanting to find out a little bit more and you're enjoying it, really encourage you to give us a like down below, or even better, a subscribe. And if you've been watching us for a while and you're enjoying us, I encourage you to tell your friends about us as well. Every little bit helps. Every new subscriber we get helps the algorithm spread the news about our channel and other people like you finding the stories that we put up online. Okay, enough from me. Now to hand over to a pre-recording of the players, the characters on screen, to introduce their players a little bit. And the pre-recording now starts with Mason. Mason is about to take it away. Go for it, Mason.
Kia ora, I'm Mason, and for this episode I'm playing Demos. He's a very attractive, very hunky, very buff mixed man. Really great with his spear and shield, and he can whip out some swords if he needs to. He's not the most intelligent person, but he makes up for it with a lot of kindness, a lot of gentleness, except for when he's fighting. And he's been with the party for a little while, has thoroughly enjoyed his time with them, is very much looking forward to saving the world. And on the side, he is looking and hoping to find his long-lost sister that was kidnapped a long, long time ago.
Hi, I'm Pete, and in this episode I'll be playing Leif. Leif is a half-elf warrior mage, which means he uses weapons as well as magic. He's a friendly fellow, very empathetic, and a really kind member of the party.
Kia ora, I'm Alex, and for this episode I'm playing Karios. Karios is a young North woman. She's a weather mage, a pretty powerful weather mage with some very cool spells. She's quite sweet and kind, a bit emotionally labile, but wears a heart on her sleeve and a strong moral compass. She also has a companion, a cat called Victory, who's a very important member of the party, and Victory was rescued, oh there's Victory, a wee while ago from impending doom.
Hi, my name's Giles, and for this episode I'm playing Tarquin. So Tarquin is a young, ridiculously good-looking half-elf. And during his early life and adolescence, he's been well-trained in the gentle arts of thievery, charming others using his remarkably good looks, and of course, violence. He is in his own way a religious man, and he's out looking for some understanding as to what's happened to his homelands.
Hi, I'm Graham. I play Nyathonal Sherakir. She is a magent, which is a mix of stealthy skills, fighting skills, and magic skills, mentalism, magic of the mind. She is a complex character, something of a religious fundamentalist who believes in assassination as a sacred endeavour. She keeps that well hidden, however. She is a dab hand with a short sword and uses her magic and sneaky ability to good use in sneaking up on her adversaries.
Hi, I'm Aidan and I'm playing Grey. Grey is a very handsome half-elf who doesn't really believe in wearing shirts. He's constantly just displaying his body all the time, which, you know, he's got it, so he's flaunting it. He's got a bit of a tragic backstory. Pretty much everyone he's ever really cared about has been murdered brutally, but despite that, he's still a lovely guy. He's very caring, cares a lot about his teammates and also animals, loves animals, as he is a beastmaster, so he has the power to kind of, I don't know, not control, well, he can control animals, but he can also kind of interact with them and understand them and get them to help him do what he needs to do. When he's not using his magic, he is a bit of a dab hand with an axe. He is very good at chopping things, chopping enemies, and also good with a little bit of stabby and a crossbow as well. He has a bird called Wingy that is his best friend that needs to have a bit more of a story, I guess. She'll come into it a bit more like down the road, I think. Yeah, that's great.
Kia ora, I'm Pete, and I'll be playing Mithan in this episode. Mithan is a ranger. She's a high man. She's pretty good at outdoor skills and she's a pretty good archer. She's not a people person. She doesn't really care about people's feelings, although she's beginning to in this party.
Hello, I'm Graham. I play Etienne Gilderflower. He is a genitrist, which is a type of paladin or holy warrior. He follows the teachings of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and he believes that her will leads him on, and he makes decisions based on the dreams he receives or thinks he receives from his goddess. He has joined the party on a mission to, as he understands it, to save the old order, the world as they know it. He is a very charming, very good-looking man, a very eccentric man, speaks in riddles and rhymes most of the time, but he believes in a higher purpose. He's a very dab hand with a sword, usually found in full plate.
And there we go. So hopefully those recordings provide a bit more insight into the characters up on screen, and also a little bit about the people, the players, behind those characters. All right, so for most sessions, I send out some character development questions, or I've been asking recently for an image or something about the character's background to help flesh out the characters up on screen a little bit more before we start playing. And we're doing a little bit of a change things up a little bit tonight, with a bit of kind of improv work. And what I'm asking each player to do is to be given a place, so a place potentially associated with their background or invented as part of their background, and then someone else will come up with either a person, item, or an issue. And the player will then give a little bit of a story. It doesn't have to be long at all, but 2 or 3 minutes about that character in that location. So we're starting it off with Leif, and we're starting it off as a location, one of the bars that he used to work in Jebai Unaden. And can I turn to Alex, asking for either a person, item, or an issue? And Pete, just as a reminder, can you select the next person and give them a location, please? So Alex, a person, item, or an issue for Leif.
Sure thing. I think we'd all like to hear about the night a very tall gentleman with a red top hat and a squirrel on his shoulder came into the establishment Leif was working at.
Fantastic. Leif, give us a story.
Amazing. Shall I first give the person... Yep, the locations for Graham's character's Etienne would be a street in a poor part of town. Don't mind which town. So a street in the poor part of town. And for Neathanel, a library. So it could be a big library, a small library, arcane library, wherever suits the Neathanel.
Excellent. Thank
And
you.
did you want to nominate the item givers for those two?
Why don't you, Pete, actually?
Cool. I suppose we'll have to go with Aidan giving an item. What was it? A person, an item, or an issue for Etienne. So Aidan to give one of those things for the street, and for Giles to give person, item, or issue for the library for Neathanel.
Lovely. So when it's Graham's turn, he'll get both those two last bits of information. Let's hear about the squirrel-toting dude in the bar.
Fantastic. This is a story that's actually pivotal in Leif's life. I don't have here's that information. Bel-Orak's Spell of Wonder, I believe it is. And this isn't Bel-Orak, but this is the person that Leif learnt about wish magic from. So this type of magic is something that he's been searching for, and he believes there might be a copy of this amazing book of Dispersed Wonder. That's Bel-Orak's Spell of Dispersed Wonder, which is, there is a spell in Rolemaster about this, which is that you cast the spell, and it means you can cast, when you're very advanced in the spell, you can cast any first level spell available. It's pretty amazing. The version that Leif's looking for is one where you cast the spell and you have a smaller selection of first level spells, I think about 6 or so that are most likely to occur. So he has, for the cost of one spell, he gets the 6 minor spells. This is how the magic works. For him, of course, there's also a randomness to it. So he might get a completely different spell that he wasn't counting on. So there's a little bit of, but he was fascinated by this. So this a very unusual tall man in the red top hat came in and made a huge impression on the bar. I mean, Jebai Unaden's not particularly cosmopolitan, I believe. It's not necessarily a huge city, So odd to find this quite unusual gentleman with a squirrel on his shoulder, of all things, sort of appear in the city. He had an odd accent. Leif didn't quite establish where he's from, but they did get talking about the nature of this man's life, basically, and that he had come across this wish magic himself, and had a variety of encounters, both good and bad, in it, but it had given him a unique perspective on life, hence his unusual apparel, red top hat, and his travelling companion, the squirrel. He just once you've got magic that has got very unpredictable outcomes, I suppose you rethink the importance of certain things in your life and the way people perceive you. Leif has been fascinated by this magic. He doesn't necessarily want a red top hat and a squirrel for himself, but but that captures his imagination, and really sparked an interest in magic and in this magic in particular.
Nice one, Pete. Love it.
Oh, well done, Pete. Big shoes to fill.
Yes. Handing over to Pete, your second character, Mython. The location is the backwoods near her house. And Mason, can we please have either a person, an item, or an issue for Mython in the backwoods near her house?
Mython came across a lost little elf girl.
Oh, amazing.
In the forest.
That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Mython does have an affinity to elves. So I know I've said several times that she, even as a background option, she has a goal to travel to an elven city and live there for at least 3 weeks to understand their culture. This is due to this incident with this little elf girl that she met. Mython didn't have a happy childhood at all. She was upbringing at all, even as a young woman. Her family was not kind to her. Her mother was not kind to her. Her father, just the only person who initially was kind was her brother. So she took to the backwoods around her, the city of Kathni, where she lived, and would go hunting, would explore the ecosystems, and just spend time, practicing the archery, and spend time with herself, basically. And on one occasion, she did come across this elven child, this young elven girl, and in an unusual fashion for her, she sort of was kind to her. She could see the innocence, basically, and that touched Mython, and Mython has a soft spot for animals, of course, and so she equated her to being as innocent as an animal, and cared for her for a good part of that day, until this elf child's parents arrived, and that started Mython's appreciation for elves, in that they were kind to her and appreciative of her, and they were otherworldly, and seemed to be removed from harsh emotions, and that sort of set up this idyllic sort of perspective of elves for Mython in her head. I mean, of course, there were nasty elves as much as anyone else, but for her, the gratitude they showed her, that positive emotional experience for her, really made an impression. And she saw those elves once or twice more, and so that sort of strengthened her appreciation for elven kind. But it was from meeting this elf child in the woods.
Excellent, Pete. 2 out of 2. Well done. Bravo. I say bravo. Well done. To be put on the spot. Turning over to Graham, to Etienne, a street for Etienne in a poor part of town, and then next to Neathanal in a library somewhere. Graham, before you answer that, before I turn to Aidan to ask for a person, item, or issue for Etienne, can you nominate, please, Graham, your next character and the location for that next character?
Oh, okay. Karios, and a fairground.
Fairgrounds, cool. And who is going to provide a person, item, or an issue for Karios? I'll choose. We'll say Aiden again. Aiden, can you please give Etienne a person, item, or an issue based around
Yep.
a street in a poor part of town?
Yes, he comes across his great grandfather's ghost.
Ooh,
Ooh,
love it!
spooky.
Spooky! In a poor part of town, Etienne, what happens?
Well, the town is Onaham, and it's a pretty rundown kind of place, and certainly it was a pretty grim back street, on a mean street, tucked away, where he lived in a very testing circumstances, and his name was not Etienne, it was Feistel at that time, and he lived under the so-called care of a local gang. And it was currently at that point forced into a life of crime while only a boy. He was very mistreated, but he was made to do a threat of death or being maimed. Casual kind of acts of crime around the city. And at this time, he had been asked to rob a place, and it had gone wrong, and he'd been told to act as an act of vengeance, sent to kill the person who had thwarted the robbery, and he refused to do so, and he was extremely thoroughly beaten, until literally within an inch of his life. And as he kind of drifted between conscious and unconsciousness, he thought he saw his grandfather's ghost. His grandfather, he was brought up by his mother's extended family before, until the capital city of that kingdom had been attacked, and he lost his family. And his grandfather was particularly kind to him, and he sort of clung to this image of his grandfather. And then things got a bit complicated when into the courtyard in which this is sort of makeshift accommodations, or sprawled out onto, for want of a better word, a knight strode brazenly into the small courtyard and pointed straight at him. And he confuses it with his grandfather. He's got very sort of mixed recollections, because it was so caught up in his sort of dream state and extreme pain and discomfort that he was in. But the knight pointed at him and told the boy that he was to come with him, and that he'd been selected, and by the maiden's will, he was leaving with him. At which point, the gang members in the vicinity challenged this individual, and the individual told them that he had no quarrel. He was to take the boy, but there was no need for a loss of life. But nonetheless, they set upon him. There were 7 gang members, and within a few minutes, just 2 remained. And having seen what had become of their 5 former gang members, they fled. And the man came over, picked up Feistel at the time, and took him off. And he left the city, and he's never ever been back. And that was the beginning of what Etienne calls his rebirth, where he was reinvented. And that man was Cynthia Gilderflower, who is his mentor and saviour. And so that's a very strong memory that he holds.
Excellent. 3 for 3 so far. Nice work, Graham. Very good. Turning now to Neathanol. I'm a bit tardy on some of the images. Neathanol in a library, and Giles, can you provide, please, a person, item, or an issue associated with Neathanol in a library?
So she finds an old drunk man mumbling in a language she knows well in the back of the library.
Excellent. Graham, what happens?
So, Neathanol was, she was in her hometown, Jebel Mabeth, a young woman, and she was operating amongst a gang of thieves. and sort of perfecting her craft really. They were fairly organised, and they would go on jobs together and so forth, and try to sort of scrape a living together in the sort of traders' quarters of the city. And she'd been recently, as part of that sort of wider group, she'd been sort of drawn into an organisation called the Hidden Blade, of which she'd been sort of trying to prove herself. And however, they were, they were certainly wanted as a group, and they knew that, but they had to try and keep a low profile when they were, outside of their operations. Neathanol returned back to their lodgings one day and went back, looked into her quarters, and found that her lover Kester was there, slain, killed, cold blood on the floor. At which point she heard a noise on the stairs and put two and two together and decided to leave by the window there and then. And she climbed out of the house. As she looked down on the street above the house, she saw that she'd been spotted by several individuals. And there was a big chase. She climbed up on the rooftops, climbed across the rooftop, jumped across streets, trying to evade them, trying to evade the people who were clearly trying to kill her too. And it was quite a chase across town. And eventually she found herself back onto street level. And in an act of desperation, with her sort of pursuers closing in on her, she burst and ran into the Grand Library in Gemma Beth, managed to just basically race and leap her way in past the guards, and basically took herself into the bowels of this vast library. It's a labyrinth really, and took herself in and managed to hide herself away, and eventually she hid and ended up spending the night in there. And wasn't until the next day that she, planning what to do next, she got talking to an old guy who was pretty drunk, but he was, he had some wise words, and she ended up sort of spilling her heart to him. And he basically told her she needs to get out, find something new, and cut loose and do her own thing. And she didn't know this person, but she took his advice, and he gave her a few kind of hints along the way of where to go and how to get out, and how the docks worked, and a vessel that she could get herself on. And that's what she did. She never knew the guy's name, but she won't forget him.
4 for 4. Fantastic. And absolutely weaving in your character's background. And there's a part there that I had no idea about. Fantastic. Bravo. Turning over to Karios in a fairground, and we'll go to Aiden in the second for either another person, item, or an issue. But before we do, Alex, can you nominate the next character, please, and give them a location?
Sure. I would like to nominate Demos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like his location to be a Gothic church with broken stained glass windows on a stormy night.
Okay.
I don't know if Gothic translates to the age.
Yeah, like Thracian.
Creepy old.
Old, many ages old Thracian church with broken windows. Fantastic. And who will give Demos either a person, item, or issue in the broken windowed cathedral, please?
Pete, please.
Pete, lovely. Okay, Aiden, can you please give Karios in a fairground a person, item, or an issue, please?
Some escaped animals: a tiger, some monkeys, and a beaver.
Just writing that down.
It's an obvious menagerie that goes together. Obvious magic.
Obviously.
I thought I'd make it obvious.
That's easy. Thank you for keeping it easy for me. So this fairground, it's abandoned and it's really overgrown, and it's actually on the outskirts of where she went to school. And it used to be used by the children who attended the school to practice their magic. So Karios, the maternal line, and her family are magic users, and can be quite powerful. And as a result, she was ostracised by the male members of her family and the male members of her community. She grew up in quite a small town, and didn't realise, she didn't have strong friendships as a wee one, and didn't quite realise the capacity she had. So when she was whipped away for magic weather mage training, she didn't really fit in. She was a bit socially awkward. She wasn't one of the cool kids. She was a beat off, and I've often likened her to somebody, the glasses are a bit smudged, the lip gloss is a bit smeared, the misbuttoned cardigan from the op shop that's last season. She really wanted to be one of the cool kids, one of the part of the clicky, and the clip clop of the high heels. So anyway, she didn't fit in. And so she used to venture outside the boundaries of her school, which was bordered by a wood, and it was full of woodland elves.
Just a heads up as well, that fits perfectly because she went to school in Jebai Marbeth, which is an elven kingdom, which is the same place that Neathanel grew up.
Yes. So there's lots of woodland elves. And they're not awful, but they're quite, they like to keep to themselves. They like their own kind. They're not like vicious or violent, but it's very much known that you to keep to your kind and they're going to keep to their kind. It's not very welcoming. So hence, long way of saying, this fairground used to be a real attraction for the community and for the young people, but it's abandoned. So you can imagine, a Ferris wheel, a rusting carousel, dodgem cars, side alley games and all sorts, all abandoned and left to rust and die. So she would go there to just reflect and chat to herself and chat to the moon and think about weather and practice some of her magic, even though she wasn't allowed to do that. And one night she got there and she could see that the merry-go-round, with the, there was a seat, they were like a car, or you could sit on a horse, or is that what they're called? Like the merry-go-round. The lights were on and it was going. And in 3 of the seats, there was a tiger, there was a gaggle of monkeys riding a pony on this merry-go-round, and there was a beaver sitting there reclining with on his tummy. You can just see him full of nuts, just eating his nuts and reclining. And it was going, and she stopped and she rubbed her eyes and she was like, no way, I've been coming here every night for months ever since I started this school. This cannot be real. And so she crept very, very slowly towards, the music's playing, it's a little bit creaky, it's a little bit off, it's a bit flat, sounds a bit creepy. But for real, these animals, as plain as the nose on your face, they were real. So she took a hiding spot, she watched them for a bit. They seemed to interact fine, like the tiger wasn't overly keen on killing the monkeys or the beaver, and they're all just doing their own thing and just being themselves and just being mates, really. She literally rubs her eyes and then it's gone. It's gone. And she was heartbroken. She was like, I know what I saw. It was real. They, 3 different creatures getting along, being friends, doing something, a shared activity together, and no doubt they had many adventures, and she didn't get a chance to talk to them about their adventures. And that's when she knew that one way or another she was going to finish school, she was going to do her best, and she was going to find her people. And she didn't care if those people were tigers, monkeys, beavers, whatever. She was going to find her motley crew.
Yes.
And she still reflects on that vision, on that someone was guiding her, someone was telling her to keep her chin up, someone was telling her, don't despair, you are going to find your weird bunch of people.
There you go. Her waifs and strays. So
That's it.
A vision or a hallucination, or was she perhaps starting on, I don't know, starting drinking early, or maybe a drug addiction? Maybe she's addicted to gort, which is a hallucinogenic in this game. I don't know.
Maybe.
It
was real for her.
It was real for her. Or a dream. Lovely. Love it. Thank you very much indeed, Karios. We're now going to hear from Demos, who is in a cathedral, an old cathedral, with broken stained glass in a storm. And we're going to ask Pete for either a person, item, or an issue for Demos in that location. But before we do, Mason, you've got two people to choose from, or two characters to choose from. Can you choose the next character, please, and give them a location?
For Tarquin, and it's like a very like bright, very vibrant kind of street market he's walking through, but it feels like it's almost too happy. Something feels off.
Okay. Hang on a minute. Hang on. You know I want to. There we go. Lovely. Excellent. Thank you. And who is going to provide Tarquin with either a person, an item, or an issue? Graham.
Thank
you. We'll come to that in a second. But first off, Pete, can you give Demos either a person, an item, and an issue for Demos in a cathedral in a storm with broken stained glass windows, please?
About a comfy chair. Oh no, not the comfy chair. Yeah, a very comfortable chair.
Very comfortable chair.
Okay. So, when Demos was, I think he'd been in the looking after the princess for about a few years at this point. They'd become really good friends, and they'd kind of gotten into the habit of often sneaking out of the castle to just go and explore and, be teenagers. So one night they were out and about, they found this abandoned church, and, being curious teenagers, they wanted to go explore, so they wandered in. There's lots of broken stained glass windows. Everything was it was looking really grim, but still, there was still some character about it. They both really appreciated it. They found some, old bits of tattered art, and just, they were just chatting and continuing, all the conversations that they've always sort of had. And then they heard a massive rumble of thunder, and the rain started pouring down, so they started looking for a bit more coverage because they were quite exposed. And they wandered into this room, and just sitting in this room was this incredible looking, well preserved chair, which they thought was kind of strange. So they wandered over to it and kind of stared at it, and they were just not entirely sure if it was a trick, if there was something strange going on. But Demos, being Demos and the protector of the princess, he kind of wandered over and sat in it, moved around a bit, and was kind of like, no, this is safe, it's going to be so fine. So got the princess over. So they both curled up on the couch, on the very comfy chair, and we're waiting for the storm to pass. And they just, continued to get to know each other. And it was in that moment that he felt something more, but he didn't know how to place it. He didn't know what romantic love was or anything like that. So he wasn't entirely sure what this feeling was for this, this woman that had become a woman while he'd known her. And yeah, it was in that moment he was like, oh, this is interesting. This feels a little bit more than like a love that I would have for like my mum or the love that I would have for my sister. But he didn't know how to place it and he didn't know how to describe it. So that's just something he kind of kept to himself. Yeah. And then eventually the storm passed and they went home.
Fantastic.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, great story. Great story. Thank you. Delving a little bit deeper, peeling the layers of the onion. Turning to Tarquin. Tarquin, before Graham gives you a person, item, or issue for you in a vibrant street market, but with something a little bit off, a little bit unusual, a little bit kind of not quite right about it, can you please give Gray a location and tell me who is going to give Gray a person, item, or an issue, please? You with me, Giles?
My apologies.
No worries.
Oh god. Okay, so my apologies. Gray, can you hear me?
Yep.
So your location is the place of your first memory, which is a certain real place. Not the kind of fancy things that we dream up, but your certain real places. It's a place you were definitely at.
Excellent. Thank you. And who is going to give Gray a person, item, or a issue at that location?
I'm going to task Graham with the old double slam. You can give one to me, and then he can give one to Gray.
There you go. Excellent. Thank you. And speaking of Graham, back to you to give Tarquin a person, item, or an issue in a crowded, vibrant street market, but something a little bit off, please, Graham.
The Archbishop of Talonworth.
There you go.
Archbishop of where?
Talonworth.
Talonworth. Excellent, thank you. So it would be fair to say Tarquin was happy with his childhood. He's a young half-elf, but it was not a childhood full of vibrancy. It was not a childhood full of people. And not a childhood full of street markets. But that changed when he was tasked with going to the city of Balm, and he went there with his best and really only friend, Simeon. And so they set out from their place of living as young men and headed off to the city with a clear purpose and to know what they were to do. And shortly upon entering Balm, the two became separated. That was part of the plan, and that did not worry Tarquin at all. Very quickly, Tarquin found himself in the market district, as he discovered later, a bright and vibrant area full of people talking and shouting, goods passing to and fro, smiling, clapping on the back. There was a pub, people were drinking and happy, and he felt a deep, deep disquiet at this. He knew something was wrong. And he had no escape. He had no place that was like his home place. He had no safe place. And he saw a strange and unusual man sitting in the pub, wavering as a way he'd been taught related to drinking too much. And a part of his childhood, he'd learnt to drink and learnt that he could be tolerant to alcohol. So it was kind of a thing he'd learned to do. And following his training, he decided to go and talk to this regal-looking man in purple. He plonked himself down, grossly inappropriately, not that he knew that, and proceeded to buy a round of drinks at the table. Very rapidly, the men in black and the men in purple welcomed him in, probably because he was buying the drinks, and they drank all afternoon. Tarquin learned a lot about who he discovered to be the Archbishop of Terranova, and became increasingly uncomfortable about what he heard. The men in black, he understood they were his clerics, had left. And as the early evening arrived, this gentleman who professed to be religious, although Tarquin struggled to believe this, asked if Tarquin would be happy to help him head back to his place of worship. Tarquin, of course, agreed, as he would do, and they stumbled away from this uncomfortably bright place. On the way, Tarquin discovered a somewhat dark alley and suggested maybe the bishop, who looked like he needed to possibly relieve himself, might like to do this in a dark alley as opposed to in the middle of the street. A suggestion the Archbishop thought was excellent. So he headed down into this dark alley, at which time Tarquin promptly opened his throat, released his life essence, opened his chest, and released his inner vessels. Feeling much relieved, returned to find Simeon in the place they've decided to meet, the House of Nine Veils, a house of ill repute.
Okay, then.
Yes, that one.
So there's the hand.
Over to Megan.
Okay, lovely. Gray, you have the location is the location where Gray definitely had his first memory, no question about it. It's definitely where he had his first memory. And Graham, can you put in that scene, wherever that is, either a person, an item, or an issue for Gray?
A white stag.
Oh, I just went that entire time. Sorry. Without Tarquin, that's very bad of me. That was Tarquin there. That was Tarquin's story. We're now on to Gray. A white stag. Go for it, Gray.
Okay. So Gray's first memory is being very small. He grew up in a travelling circus, and his first memory is being in the performer's carriage of the travelling circus. He was hiding there because he was scared of the ringmaster, because the ringmaster had a really nasty temper, and he'd get drunk and he'd be a bit violent, and he was very scary for such a young boy. So he was hiding in the carriage because it always felt really warm and safe in there, because of really plush kind of costumes and sequins, and it was like really colourful and nice, and it smelled like popcorn. Great. And he was peeking out of the window just to see if he could see where that nasty ringleader was, and he spotted this beautiful white stallion that had kind of broken away from the rest of the horses.
Stallion or stag, Graham?
Stag, sorry. Beautiful white stag. He thought it was a stallion at first. He was a young boy, didn't know what he was seeing.
That was behind the stallion. Was the stallion.
Yeah, that must have been what it was. There was a lot of beasts around. It was a circus. There was many animals. He saw this beautiful white stallion, and then it moved, and behind it was an even more beautiful white stag. And so he followed it. He crept out of the carriage and he followed it, and it kind of led him into this clearing in the middle of a forest. He didn't know how long he'd walked, but he walked pretty far. He wasn't totally sure where he was, but he just knew he had to follow the stag. And so finally the stag kind of came to this clearing in the middle of the forest and turned around to him and came up to him, and he touched its head. And when he touched its head, it turned into an old gypsy woman, which was very surprising. He'd never really seen that kind of magic before, and it was terrifying. But he didn't feel scared, really. He was just astonished. And she told him that she'd brought him out there because she wanted him to know that on a certain night in the future, when he smelt this smell, and she described the smell as this kind of dead, deathly, evil smell. And if he was ever to smell that smell, he had to run and hide in the carriage, because that night, if he didn't, terrible things would happen to him. And so when he did eventually grow up and smelled that smell, he did that, and that was the night his family were murdered, and that's the only reason that he survived.
Wow.
The end.
Love it. Eight stories with no preparation put on the spot, and all of you wove a fantastic tale. Bravo, guys. That was really cool. Well done. Well done indeed. A bit of a break away from what we usually do, and that did take quite a bit longer than we normally do, but I really enjoyed that. Thank you. And well done to everybody. Thinking on the spot, a bit of improv, and also digging into your character's background. Wonderful. Pete, can you please, as you normally do, can you please give us a very quick synopsis of where the characters are at?
Yep, sure thing. That was a lot of fun, and yeah, great to hear those stories. So last time we sailed into the wealthy city of Kel-Ty-Mon on a ship from I've forgotten the previous place.
Half.
Yep. We are here to seek healing for Karios. We were met by our host, the widow in Thetis, and her son Al. And we were taken to their house, I believe. Oh, I can't remember. But and she had already been informed about our needs, which was to find a healer, and she had already made arrangements and a meeting with Lady Safina of the Whispering Balm Clinic. I can't remember if it was the following day or even the same day.
Following day.
Following day, thank you. We were given some tips to not comment on her appearance. Turns out she sort of had hankers on her face from some sort of spell or curse or potion that went awry. But her prices were fairly fixed. We shouldn't bargain too much. And also that we needed to clean ourselves up. So, of course, that's why it was the next day. So we went shopping, and we were able to get not perfectly tailored clothes, but a good set of clothes that were somewhat better fitting for those who were going to go and visit her, which was all of the party except Leif and Etienne. The following day, we went to see her, and she was sympathetic and kind. And yes, agreed that she confirmed she could indeed restore Karios' heart and lungs, and was able to and agreed that she would administer the life-giving herb that we provided. We negotiated and explored those sorts of things and discussed costs, which was considerable, but within our budget, and that was the decision we'd all made on embarking on this. So we agreed on price and paid. The healing went well, and the life administration of the life-giving, I think, went very well, actually, and she was quite relieved by that. So, Karios was restored to life. She's not conscious and would be unconscious, I believe the quote was, for a further 10 to 15 days. We know that she might have some further disability of two kinds. One from being dead, and we were told at the time that it might be unmodifiable. We might not be able to do anything about it, but I believe subsequently we've learned that perhaps we can sort of mitigate these things. And also we know that her body is deteriorated, her stats have deteriorated. We know so we have to also repair those. We've got two more things to address with Kyros's healing. One, we know we can get the stats healed, I believe, back in Landania. And I believe that's pretty much where we left it. Still in her
Yep.
shop. Yep.
In her clinic, yes. Yeah, Whispering Balm. One slight, very very slight amendment from me. There was indeed some permanent damage rolled by Karios, and the damage was quite severe. That is, of course, completely unknown to the characters at the moment. As far as they're concerned, the characters are lying on. You can't see it, but Lady Safina is standing in front of an examining slab of white marble Karios is on, and Karos's chest is going up and down. She's breathing again. So the players know that there is permanent damage, which, as we discovered subsequently, Pete, yes, can be healed, but the players, the characters don't. Any last?
I just check. Sorry, can I just check? She did tell us that there was a chance for it.
Yes, definitely. She said a very, very strong chance that Karios. She actually said there were 3 issues. The first was the major repair or bringing back regeneration of Karos's heart, which was completely burnt away by the acid. The second was the regeneration of Karos's lungs, which again were completely burnt away by the acid. And the third was the actual bringing back to life of Karios. So she did indicate that there was a strong chance that from one of those 3, 2 of those 3, 3 of those 3, there could be an issue. But at this stage, the characters are completely unaware of anything for Karios. Any questions, comments, anything that's not clear before we start the game? Nope. Okay. Well, with no further ado.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
Sorry, not a question about the thing, but I've realized I need to head off at, I think it'll be like 9:30 your guys' time.
Okay.
It's about 10:30 my time. Yeah.
Sure thing.
I think that's how it works.
All good. Just,
yeah, cool.
Shoot us a note or say goodbye, but all good, Mason. Yeah, no, you mentioned that before, so.
Sweet, cool.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a question as well. Sorry, I forgot how much she was going to charge us for Typhera.
Yes, it was something in the realm of
4,000?
No. Yeah, maybe. Hang on. Did I jot that down? Yes, I did. She charged you 1,000 for administering, and then 5,000 for Trifera. Yeah.
So she was going to charge us 5,000 gold for buying. Okay, cool.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
Yep. And then it ended up being 6,130 GP for the heart, lungs, and administering the herb in the end. Correct? That's what I had. But yes, it was going to be 5,000 for Trifera itself. Yes.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Any more questions, comments? Nope. Let's start the game. So yes, indeed, we start in the house of Whispering Balm, the clinic of the Whispering Balm. Lady Cythera is there, and she turns to you, and you can just see a smile as she stares down at Karos's poor, terribly traumatized body. But Karos's chest is rising and falling. She's alive. Well, my ducks, I did do a good job, if I don't say so myself. Your friend is safe. She will be in some coma, as mentioned. She'll be in a coma, of course, until her health recovers. You'll need, as mentioned, you'll need to regain her strength, her constitution, her agility, basically get her healthy again. And for that, I think I mentioned before, you'll either need a priest or potentially a very, very rare herb called listagi. It's a crystal. It's found in the desert. It's ground up and with a little bit of water administered to the patient, and that will help heal one area of the patient very, very effectively and very well. I don't have any listagi myself. Yes, which is unfortunate. And she kind of pauses at this stage, kind of looks at Tarquin. And then
So Tarquin... Sorry, Chris.
And then smiles a little bit. And if you remember, Tarquin did provide a pretty phenomenal charm roll on this older woman last session. She smiles a little bit and says, and you perhaps catch a glint, a wink in her eye of perhaps a much younger woman looking at Tarquin's very good looks. She reaches out and she touches Tarquin's arm and she says, I like you, my boy, and I like all of you. You seem like good people. I'd like to help you, and I'd like to help this poor child. If you wish, I can speak to my, well, I wouldn't say my friends, but let's say my partner, maybe friends, Ulrich of the Dark House, to see if he may be willing to assist. He's a priest. I could put in a good word for you, and again, her eyes come back to Tarquin's very, very good looks. I think I'll put in a good word for you and ask to see if firstly he'll come here. Doesn't usually make house calls, as they say, but there is a particular book that I own that he has asked me about several times, and I think given the opportunity he may come here to borrow the book. And I can ask him perhaps if he is willing to reduce the amount that he may request of you for a donation. I can't promise that. I would say if this is of interest to you, and she kind of turns to you all and looks expectantly.
Well, Tarquin's amazed, right? So people don't come back from the dead. And so the first thing he'd do, and I don't think he had a charm roll, but he would lean in to her personal space and touch her upper arm and thank her profusely for her amazing skills, and would thank her profusely for her generous offer, and would say he's going to ask his colleagues what they think of this opportunity, which sounds amazing, and would thank you for that. And then I'll turn and ask others what they think, so what other people think.
Life's not there, so I can't speak.
Great.
Next, I think Etienne's gone for a drink, hasn't he? Is Etienne there, Graham?
I thought he'd gone for a beer.
Yeah, I think he has gone for a beer. In which case, I think it's me, Gray.
I think Gray's there. Yeah.
So it's everyone apart from Leif and Etienne.
Yeah. What do other people think?
Yeah, Gray would be extremely happy and would also be thanking and bowing and giving deference to her.
Okay, in which case I think I would turn back to her and thank her again for her offer and tell her we're very keen on that. I think we'd Tarquin to be honest at this point and say, although gold is an issue, we might be able to sell her some Trifera. And I wonder if she'd be interested in a purchase which would help us to support her friend, to help our friend, and that would be a benefit to her, a benefit to her friend, and a benefit to us, and everybody wins. And so he'd be turning on the charm as hard as he can, and if you need me to make another charm roll, I will, but hopefully the old charm roll works, which was great.
Yeah, no, I'd give you that from last time. Okay. She looks thoughtful at that. It is a very kind offer. As I already mentioned, I already have some Trifera. It is expensive, so I will politely decline. But I'd be happy to see if perhaps one of my other healing colleagues in the city might be interested, and at the same time, I could see if they have some Lestagi, perhaps.
I thank her profusely for that offer. Ask her if there's anything we can do to help, and please ask her to ask, and tell her we're very interested in helping our friend to be as well as she can be.
Certainly. So you would like me to speak to my friend, my acquaintance, Ulrich of the Dark House?
And I think it's a yes, and I'd apologise for sullying the conversation with money, but clearly making sure that this isn't a fruitless exercise and we are able to support her friend by meeting his fiscal requirements is important to us, so people aren't wasting their time. And so whether we have the finances or need to find someone who we might be able to sell our dose of herb to seems very important.
I see. Well, maybe I can. One of my very dear friends is literally a 5-minute walk from here. I can inquire easily today. Yes. I'm sorry?
Ask if she'd like some company and the walk to her friend's place, and he'd be happy to accompany her.
Well, that's very kind.
Or she wants to go on her own, that would be fine.
I would prefer to speak with Brother Thaddeus myself, but kind of you to offer. I know that his stocks of various herbs are running low, so he may well be interested in the Typhera that you're offering. I will check with him and see. I would say with Ulrich of the Dark House, he is of Giron. He is a death priest, and I'd like everybody here, please. Anybody that has old gods knowledge or even a general knowledge roll, to give me a roll, please. Anybody present? Tarquin, could you give me a general knowledge roll if you don't have old gods knowledge?
The roll is 61,
Mm-hmm.
and he has some old gods knowledge.
Okay. Yep. Yep. What's his skill in old gods?
Sorry, 26. Oh no! Sorry, I got out the wrong characters.
Nah. Didn't think he did.
Yeah.
He should have general knowledge though.
Second.
Okay. Well,
No, he only has specific gods knowledge. My apologies.
he only has what? Sorry.
He has the knowledge of specific gods, but that are old gods, but not old gods and all of the old gods in general.
Okay. So just what's his general knowledge? Or general lore might be under.
Yeah, no, it doesn't hit. Oh, yeah, no, sorry, 13 plus 13.
Cool.
So
Lovely.
61 plus 13. My apologies.
Cool.
For being slow.
I mean, all you're aware of, Tarquin, is just that these are that there is a god in the old god Parthenon known as Mandos or Geron, and apparently he's the god of death. That's about all you know. Anybody else present who wants to have a roll, please?
I rolled 52.
52. Yep.
Plus 39. Oh gods.
Cool, lovely. Graham, I'm going to pop some stuff, some information into your channel right now. going into Neanderthals in a second. I'm just going to change the image up on the screen so you guys don't see it. Go there. Coming into Neanderthals channel in a second. Don't like it when it does that. Tells me that I'm putting up too much stuff. Go. Okay.
Gray rolled a 44, but he's got a minus 19 general knowledge.
Okay. Don't forget he could have rolled really well, so we will do that. So 44 and minus 19.
Yep. So,
Yep. So Gray, a little bit of information coming into your channel now. Interestingly enough.
cool.
Now you do have a channel, by the way. It's taken me a while to add it. Hopefully you can see it.
Maybe. Where would it be? No. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Hello. Gotcha.
Hello.
Cool. Next person, please.
Is Mithan there?
Yes, she is.
I can roll, but I don't have her sheet because it's on the printer. 44.
44. Another 44. And what's her... Does she have an old god skill, Pete?
Mithan skills. He's written religious studies 23, general knowledge 8.
23. Cool. Okay. Okay. A little bit of knowledge coming into Mithan's channel in a second.
Just
second. And coming into both Karios' channel and Mithan's channel. And anybody else? You care to... No obligation to make a roll, of course.
Demos has a general knowledge skill.
Yeah, give me a roll.
Oh geez. 61.
61.
And his general knowledge is plus 19.
Okie dokie. Cool. Sure. Coming into Demos' channel now.
just by the way, I can see Gray's channel.
How can you see Gray's channel?
Don't know. I've got
interesting.
and then Gray.
I can too. I mean, I just am not looking, but yes, it's something available.
Okay,
just so you know.
I just need to change the settings. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay. So, Lady Safina turns to you and says, "Yes, I'll happily speak of Uruk. I'll happily speak to Uruk of Mandos. Yeah, there was rumors that he is one of the Doom Speaker's men, the Keeper's men, the Judge's men. There's rumors that he might have had affiliations to other darker groups in his past, but whatever that is, he's certainly overcome them, his prejudices now. He lives in a highly elven community, highly mixed community. He's not a warm man at all, but he is a very holy one and highly capable. and I believe that he might well be able to help this poor child. I think what I would say to any of you is your ability to influence him, charm, and she kind of looks at Tarquin, and almost you think she almost was about to give a wink and then doesn't. Probably might not be greeted with much enthusiasm. What would endear him to you is faith. And of course, all of you are good, God-fearing people, I'm sure. I would encourage you to show your most pious nature if you meet with him. And I think you will meet with him tomorrow. I think I am confident, particularly with the lure of this particular book he wants to borrow from me, I am confident that he will come to my humble clinic tomorrow. Any comments from anybody present?
Nathaniel sort of mentions. Sorry, he's a follower of. I'm hesitant to use the word, and she'll use a euphemism for Mandolf.
Say again, sorry?
She'll use a euphemism for the word Mandolf. She won't actually say it, but she said, sorry, did you say your colleague is a worshipper of, and she'll use now euphemism rather than the word Mandos?
Right. Yes, yeah, he, and you would all know that the Geron are quite serious doer people. They're not, they're perfectly accepted and normal parts of the priesthood of the wider old gods Parthenon. The Geron priest, they're known as the priests of death, or the Doom Speaker's men, or various other words. They aren't jolly people. They would probably, a way of acquainting them, it would be a modern day undertaker, or somebody that works with the dead, someone that's quite solemn and generally not much of a sense of humor. But they fulfill a very important part in the pantheon of the old gods. There are rumors of other sects, darker sects associated with Mandos and Geron, but certainly Geron, the priests of death, are considered part of the pantheon, if a little bit perhaps sinister.
Can I ask Chris, sorry, is this, would a real world equivalent be like Hades in Greek mythology, as opposed to, say, a genuine baddie?
Yes, ish.
And Nathaniel also continues. So your colleague is definitely of Geron following rather than Carl Geron or.
Oh goodness me! And Carl, well, no, he's not an outlaw. No, there are rumors that he might have had an interesting past and perhaps been quite had an earlier path in his life. But no, he's a priest of Geron. He's a priest of death.
And he will be comfortable sort of working with someone of my racial background and others among us?
Well, it really depends on your piety, I guess. He lives here. He lives in Kel-Ty-Mon, and much of the population in this beautiful city is Elven. As far as I know, if he has prejudices, perhaps he has managed to put them aside. He hasn't spoken to me of them. I know he prefers the company of humans, but he hasn't expressed them outright to me, that he dislikes non-humans.
See, okay, thank you. No, it's good to know.
So my ducks, it's been a busy morning, and I do need to rest a little bit. And you do see that Lady Saphira has gone a little bit pale, and she was certainly sweating with the exertion of the spell that was cast, the spells that were cast on Karios, and then the grinding up of the Typhira appeared to be quite vigorous. I will rest a little, and then I will go and I'll go and visit my friend brother Thaddeus, who is the proprietor and a well-known healer, a lay healer. He has a very well-known establishment close to here, a few minutes walk from here, known as the Oasis of Vitality. He and I are old colleagues. I'll go and meet with him later this afternoon after I have first sent a message to Ulrich of Mandos. And I'll see whether or not Brother Thaddeus might be interested in, firstly, purchasing the spare Typhira that you have, and secondly, if he has any Lestagi for sale. Could I ask, please, someone brave to give me 2 dice rolls, please?
Can I give 1 dice roll?
Sure.
Okay, I'll give 1.
Okay. Which one's this for? Oh, you don't know what they're for. You don't know what they're for, actually.
No, I don't. So I just roll.
Yeah, give me a roll.
33.
33. Okay.
Let's say this for the less important one.
Okay. And someone else?
I'll do the other one.
Come on, Mason. You can do better than me.
Well, right.
What's the roll?
It is coming. 34.
34.
Better than me.
Okay. Okay, good. Excellent. So my ducks, I will, as I say, I will rest and then make some inquiries. By evensong today, I will send a message to your lodging house to let you know what my colleague says, at least, and also whether or not there is an issue with Brother Ulrich of Mandos meeting tomorrow. And I will tell you by evensong tonight. I'll get a message to you. As I say, I will rest now, and she claps her hands, and several attendants come in, a couple of young women, and 4 very large, strapping-looking men. And she rattles off a series of instructions. One is certainly getting her a cup of tea. And then secondly, if they would, the large guys would take Karios's body, take Karios, she's no longer a body, to the infirmary. And she said, please go with my colleagues, my staff, and make sure that your friend is comfortably settled. And then, await for a message from me around evensong tonight. Unless anybody does or says anything before you go, let me know. Does anybody say, do anything? Okay. She heads off into another room, and you're taken by the attendants to this place here. Quite a beautiful room, and you see there appear to be 3 of these wings, I guess you would say, wards. Quite beautiful, and there's the sounds of birdsong outside. Quite extensive gardens at the back of the Whispering Balm Clinic, and there are 3 of these wards. Karios is placed in one of the beds, She's breathing a lot more freely now. She's got a little bit more colour in her cheeks, but she is, of course, completely and utterly unconscious. She's made comfortable, and you're very kindly then escorted to the door and find yourselves out on the streets here in Kel-Ty-Mon, in this location. What do you do? Oh, your guide, by the way, Alf, is waiting outside for you.
Just as we stroll back, Nathan would just like to give a little bit of background to what the lady was talking about there. For those not aware, Mandos is pretty a god to be feared. It's a very dark god of judgment, and where people go after they die. It's known as the Keeper of the Dead, the Doom Speaker, no less. So Lord of the Underworld, ruling over the dead. He's a bit of a bad dude. Their followers, priests of death, the Geron, as the lady described. They have a role preparing the dead for the journey with Mandos either to heaven or hell, and certain they have rituals they perform, like washing the body, supplying the money for dead's eyes. They're only male and tend to be high men, and often have a distrust of other races, which she kind of hinted at. Now, there are other worse cults, like the Kal Geron being one, which I mentioned, which actually engage in sacrifices and probably best avoided. And the Kal Geron will be openly hostile and will sacrifice non-human races to Mandos to win his favor. And there's another equally heretical sect that does horrible things called the Paths of Ash. So if this guy was actually involved in those two other orders, then we probably don't want to be dealing with him too much. However, if he is just a Geron, as she suggests, we should be okay.
Do we have any sense of how likely that is?
Well, Nyathra asked directly, and she said he had a bit of a past, but he was okay by her.
So should we have only men, or people who are not half elves or orcs or anyone else deal with him, presumably?
She could. Obviously, Nyathra would probably be considered more devout, but then she is elf.
Do we have any sense of what he means by devout? To whom?
Nyathra worships a god from the old order also.
Okay, fine.
But she is elf, so.
So devout would be so the GM's just getting a drink. A devout would be anybody who has knowledge of, skill in, etc. in the old gods.
Yeah. Do we have any humans that do that? Do such things? I mean, Etienne is half elf. And he's very devout. Any advance on that? Mind you, I don't think we want to get Etienne involved with this, quite honestly. I think he could skew things considerably.
Not meaning to speak for you, Alex, but I have got a character sheet. What's her religion? Who is that?
Oh no, you speak for Mithan, please.
Oh, no.
Please.
I know there's a percentage somewhere for. Oh, wait, here we are. Oh no, I haven't even filled non-believers. But she does use channeling magic, and she does indirectly. She's not.
What I'm asking for here is mechanically, is a skill in old gods, either knowledge or sacrifice or history or anything to do with the old gods. Remember all that stuff that you were doing when you first made up these characters, and you thought, I'm never going to use
Kairos
them.
has old gods, law, and divinations. Divinations. How do you say that word?
Divinations.
Yeah.
A bit of a shame that it's Kairos, though.
She's plus 52.
She's very good. Very good.
Could she not channel that into someone else? No.
Well, unless she wants to represent herself. Anyway, I don't
Nothing more than that religious studies from this end. Hey? Nothing, Mithran's got religious studies, but nothing more.
Yeah, Etienne, I mean, Neathanol's plus 39, oh gods.
Does anybody have a spell that will let them read Kurios's mind? She's now alive. Could we read her mind and know what she knows? So use her skill? I don't know. Are we allowed to do that in this game, Chris? So I can do it in some D&D games that I've played.
No, there's not a facility in this game, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But good question. All right, you're back out in the streets. Your guide's elf is waiting outside. He looks up expectantly. How did it go? He says.
No, I think Tarquin and say it went well. Let's go home, and let's do that. Unless there's something else we can do, team.
No, that's all good. I just got to figure out how we're going to handle this later on.
Yeah, we can discuss this when we're back, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and feed the cat.
Okay. The trip back is uneventful. This is, as has been described several times, beautiful. It appears to be comparatively safe, very safe city. Well guarded. You'll see in... Where is my image? One of these. That one. Some of the guardsmen here. Now, just to check, is my cursor working? Yes, it is. Yeah, you'll see some well-armored soldiery around. Very pleasant, and as mentioned a few times, the weather is warm, but not oppressively so, and nothing like the filthy, stinking heat, the mire of southern Katana. You head your way back. What do you do, please?
How's Etienne going in the pub?
Oh, he's having a great time. Beautiful people, lots of Elven languages being spoken, very limited weapons. A few people give him a bit of a curious look with his only one hand, but yeah, he's having a great time. What's he doing?
Getting drunk. He's pleasuring the maiden.
Excellent.
So,
Sorry?
Not that, mate.
Not that one. He's living life and having a bit of chat. After, he's going to sing a few drinks, sing a few songs with those anyone will sing them with him. Mm-hmm. If no one else is drinking, he's not going to make a spectacle of himself. However, what kind of establishment is this?
It is. Hang on. 1 second. I'll give you a description. Just going. Drink. Look, it's called the Sign of the Double-Bladed Axe. Hugi Olofsson is the proprietor. A massive, appears to be some kind of ex-fighter, a northerner, actually, like some of your companions. It's just off one of the main bazaar areas, quite close to the boarding house that you're staying in. The food and drink is pretty good, and the ale and the beer is very strong. Quite a few merchants and traders appear to be out-of-towners in the Sign of the Double-Bladed Axe. It's definitely not a high-end place. It's definitely not a dive. Yeah, middling sort of place to get a good pub and a pie, basically.
And what's the sort of vibe? Are people settling in or not?
Yeah, there's this is early in the morning, by the way, so your companions went first thing to this healer. So people are having breakfast, really. So it's not getting raucous at this stage.
All right, well, he won't go too crazy, but he'll introduce himself to a few people and have a good time.
Okay. Cool.
Are there any single ladies in the house?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
He'll talk to them,
Okay.
making sure I don't have any male companions.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, middle-aged, probably. Oh, maybe not. Maybe kind of late 30s. Red-headed human woman. She's got a scar on her cheek. She's got several tattoos on her forearms. Some scarring on her hands. She's just finished arguing. If you notices, with what appears to be a smith who's come into the double-bladed axe for a discussion. She looks quite agitated, but once the smith kind of departs, clearly a smith wearing an apron, got a hammer in his belt, all the rest of it. But she sits down and is kind of nursing a watered beer. She's about the only single woman present.
Oh, chat to her and just say, something along the lines of, oh, sorry, looks like you're having a rough day. Can I get you a drink?
Kind of you, friends. Kind of you. You just can't pay for decent labour these days, can you? All I want to do is get the pommel on my sword repaired and it properly sharpened. And that oaf has just made a complete pig's ear of it, and now I won't fix it. Hey, that's very generous of you. Mine's a frothy otter, please.
2 frothy otters later, he'll have a chat with her. He'll charm, see how it goes, and talk swords.
Okay. Give me a roll.
$96.
Oh, plus.
77.
This is not a master dice roll because you can see what effects your charm or seduction, your call, is having on this person. Roll again.
$28.
You already bought her a drink. Demeanor's a bit off, but that is this result. It's coming. You must have been no. You must have been an incubus in a former life. In any case, you have your target wrapped around your little finger. Any reactions are modified by plus 20 in your favor, a plus 30 in your favor. This might be a good time to ask about that raise. What do you do?
Well, he'll if it's going well, he'll sort of suggest,
Going very well.
Well, if it's going very well, he might suggest, that, they relax, somewhere in their she asks her where her lodging, how long she's in the city for, where she's lodging, that kind of thing, and if you want, maybe we should kick back there for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, she thinks that's a fantastic idea.
Cool. All right, he'll do that.
Okay. Okay. You head across the way to the Broken Drum, which is just across the main plaza, just across the main bazaar, which is her lodging house. It's not great quality. Kel-Ty-Mon, you can see up on screen, is quite a beautiful place. This sticks out as being more than a little bit. It's not in great repair. Some of the clientele are less than Etienne may choose to associate with. But she unusually has rented a private room. She grabs a bottle of wine from the counter, and you both head upstairs.
Cool. Well, you could probably draw a veil on it there if you wish, but anyway, yeah.
Give me one more seduction roll with a plus 30 added to it, Etienne.
Only 15.
15?
Yeah.
Plus
77.
77 plus 30. It's 122. That is a success. Oh, ye of the silver tongue. You smooth talker your target. You have smooth talked your target into tractability. Have you considered a career in politics? Well, that was
politics.
Yeah. Her name is Helga, and we might perhaps, because this is a family show, we might perhaps draw a proverbial GM's veil across that scene. But Helga has definitely taken a shine to Etienne, no doubt about that. How long does Etienne plan to spend with Helga?
Well, a few hours.
Okay. Excellent. Fantastic. What were you saying about pleasuring the maiden before? And maybe you would like to describe that for our viewers' benefit, and perhaps some of your players' benefit, exactly what that means.
I think most of you are familiar with Etienne, but he's put on life. He's put on this world to spread the love, and in all his forms. But yeah, he's something that he does sort of, wherever he can. Really, is just make the most of life, and so he's got a bit of downtime now, so he'll do that.
But that phrase itself is actually
a
religious.
It is a religious phrase, and it should be every Earth Day evening. But obviously they've been adventuring, so he's just making the most of a lull in their adventuring, and it's really to be engaged in activity, whether that be drinking, singing, dancing, all the rest of it. Once a month he's sort of would like, he'll often visit a brothel or a gambling den or a pub or indeed this boudoir, and that's just part of who he is and how he worships his goddess.
Excellent. Very good. We'll draw a veil on that scene. Well played. Some nice rolling there. And you've made a new friend.
That's nice.
It is nice to make friends, isn't it? It is. It's good. It's good to make friends. So the remainder of the party head back to the boarding house that you're staying in. What do you do when you arrive back, if anything? Goodness.
Go find the cat.
Yep.
And feed her and
let her know that Karios is awake.
Oi, cat! Blake would want to catch up on how the healing went.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll, do all of that and fill everyone in, and then I guess take. Nathanel's keen to take some views on what we thought about this priest chap, and just saying, there's a risk there that, there are darker sects out there. This guy's got history. Could be a risk. She doesn't mind going. She doesn't really. I think a few of us should go, but she doesn't mind doing the talking and talking the lingo, hoping that her old god knowledge would. I mean, look, he's living in an elven city, so he's got to go over elves to a certain degree, unless he's murdering them, of course. So she doesn't particularly want to go alone. She certainly won't accept any drinks from the guy. Yeah, what do we think, though, based on what I just said earlier?
Well, Gray's still keen because all he knows about those people is that they are very kind people that give gifts to people that are about to die. That's his knowledge of that group of people.
On one level, that's certainly true.
Yeah.
We try whose knowledge will we trust, Nathanel or Gray's?
Well, Gray's general knowledge is minus 19, so I think he's aggressively ignorant.
Thank you for making the point.
Aggressively ignorant. Lovely.
I can explain more if you wish to know.
Leif's opinion is, Leif would point out that this is a more expensive city. Actually, a matter of rules outside of the character conversation. So the healer was proposing that this guy's going to cast those stat gain spells. How do we know which stats to cast them on? How do we know? Don't we need Karios awake to report on how she's feeling?
I think a little bit of.
Yep.
A little bit of game into game here, Pete. A little bit of metagame.
Divination of the body. Might well read that. Cool.
Maybe there's some insight, priestly insight that's provided. But to a certain degree, to get Karios playable, I'm happy to metagame a little bit here.
Cool. So
I think Darkwing would be mostly interested in going to find Etienne. So he'd wave goodbye, leave them to chat, and head out.
Okay.
Leif's point about the spells would be that this is a more expensive city. We did have the agreement with the priestess, I've forgotten her name, the high priestess of Hera, that she agreed she can do this spell. So let's price them out, both the crystal and the spells, and then just see what we can do. We definitely will need to sell Trifera, because I think either option will be well more than we can afford at the moment.
Yeah, I think Nathan would say, look, there's a risk with this guy. I mean, this person worships the Lord of the Underworld. There's not. You don't know what, and she doesn't. She gives nothing away in her face at all, but she says, you don't know with some of these believers, what goes on underneath, and who knows? He might belong to some strange sect with all manner of unholy and devious goings on. And she smiles sweetly.
There's an awful lot about this god, doesn't she?
I think both for cost and possibly for risk, we might be better falling back on the healer we've already met.
Do you mean the one in Landana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do we want to meet this guy?
Carefully.
One option here is just to all bail, go back to the thing, go back to Landana. We know someone who can improve stats. we do that and then we head off. But
I reckon.
we need money, right?
And we can. Well, what are we short?
Based on a calculation, just a rough calculation. I'm not sure if the cost is right for the Landana spell. Of 195 GP. That's 30 for her level times 13, which is the level of the spell, times 5, which is SP. So that's 195 per spell. That adds 30 stat points. We need 24 spells, by my calculation, to get Karios' stats back up to what their potential. There will be a couple of just a little bit under. So 20. That's 4,000 GP. We've got 1,700 at the moment.
Well, okay. Well, it's not going to work then.
That's and I think we do need to do it on most of the
We can sell this herb, hopefully, to one of this person's colleagues, right?
I think this is definitely the place to sell the herb. Yeah. Yep.
So who's got trading again? None of us.
Well, Mipan's got a very modest trading skill.
Mipan can do the trading.
Of 18, but she doesn't speak Elvish. Or I can't remember the local language. I can't remember. Vaganese?
Vaganese or Thebronic.
Do you want to try and attune? You can try and attune Neathanel's earbuds if you like.
Oh, she's got her own set and she is attuned to them.
Oh, can you use them?
Sure. If that's the best one we've got. But does someone not have a social skill that's got far better?
I mean, we've got charms, but not trading.
Yeah, but is half of charm? Is it for a trading skill? Is it half of charm or quarter of charm?
There's no trading does not affect charm. Does not affect trading.
Okay.
Lie perception or duping does.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. Someone got half.
Tarquin's trading skill is essentially 24, which is a quarter of his lie perception, which is 96.
Well, that's better than Nathan's trading skill, and he speaks the language.
Well, good, because you can come along and perceive some lies at the same time. Then,
I presume so. And so, if we're worried this guy's lying to us about his sect, I'm not exactly sure about the mechanics of the game, and I'm sure Chris can help us here, but I don't know if we do a trading and lie perception roll as a single roll, or if I roll for lie perception, if I roll then for trading. But, we could have some conversation about his religion, looking for lies, then we could have some conversation about trading, and if we're dodged, we could just bail and go back to Landana, where we can go to the temple.
Why don't we just offer him the herb and say, we're going to, take Karios back to someone of her own faith, with no offence, and do it that way.
Cool. The healer is going to try other people to see if they'll buy the herb as well, though, right?
Yeah.
The sale of the herb is to make money. That's the only reason to do it, right? We just want the best price we can get.
Absolutely.
So she wanted 5,000 gold pieces to sell us the herb. We want to sell this herb for as close to 5,000 as we can make, or more, ideally.
Down to the roll. All right, give it a go.
Cool.
So we'll do that then, Chris, when it comes round.
Okay.
And I think Nathan will go and get Tarquin, explain that, and say, hey, probably going to be relying on your skills. Maybe don't sink ales just yet. Maybe after our little meeting.
Okay.
Then Tarquin will take the advice.
Tarquin, you actually head back to, I'm going to say you head back to the boarding house, because you go down to the sign of the double axes where Etienne had been pointed, and he's not there.
It's true.
About midday, Etienne does come in. He's whistling. He looks to be in quite a good mood. heads back to the boarding house. You fill him in with what happens. What do you do for the range of the day?
So before Tarquin sleeps, he'll definitely be throwing some spitballs, laughing, and having a go at Etienne. He knows what he's been up to.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything from Demos or Leif or Grey or anybody?
I think Grey would just be kind of taking everything in. He'd be very excited, but also super nervous about what it's going to be like when Karios wakes up. He's just going to, buzz.
Okay. All right. So later, later in the day, just a second. GM's going to do. Hang on. There we go. Later in the day, you hear a knock on the door. There's a conversation downstairs. You're all relaxing up in your room. If you remember various rooms, if you remember, you're on the top floor. You've got adequate rooms. Not opulent. This is not a particularly opulent place, but perfectly serviceable. And your hostess, hang on a sec, where is she? Just trying to find it. There we go. The widow Antithus and her son Elf come upstairs. She assembles you all and she says, "We've just received this message," and she is clearly a literate woman, and she opens up the parchment. She says some good and not so good news. Firstly, Brother Thaddeus Rockwell, and she's kind of reading out individually each word, thanks you for the very kind offer to purchase some of your Typhira. He may be interested, she says, and she turns and smiles at you, and is happy to meet you tomorrow morning at 9 bells at Lady Saphira's clinic. He politely informs you, however, and she's kind of painstakingly reading, that he is not in possession of any Listagi, I should say. So he doesn't have the crystal available. She has also spoken to somebody else, a healer by the name of Sister Athena Fernwillow, and she also may be interested in purchasing the Typhira as well. So 2 possible buyers. Sister Athena Fernwillow does have Listagi for sale, and she is prepared to work via Lady Safina to negotiate a price, and Lady Safina can administer it for you. In terms of the Death Priest, he apparently, and again she's kind of painstakingly reading the note, yes indeed, he is willing to come, but unfortunately not until tomorrow afternoon. But he is willing to come, and he is willing to at least speak with you and see if you are interested in him attempting to heal your friend. And with that, the widow Antithus kind of smiles winningly around the group.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. That's great. Thanks for the news. Well, I think we'll keep those appointments. Yeah.
Yep, sounds good. Doesn't hurt to find the price.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can jump to that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we'll do that, Chris.
Cool. Any other actions from any other characters I should be aware of, or are we just happy to fast forward?
Let's go.
Okay. So the next day, you head back to now quite familiar path to Lady Saphira's clinic. The Whispering Balm Clinic. Outsides, insides. Lady Saphira is there. She's looking a lot better than when you saw her last. And there is a gentleman with you. He's introduced to you. By the way, I'm just assuming that all characters are going, unless anybody else tells me otherwise. He's introduced as Brother Thaddeus Rockwell. Brother Thaddeus is a stout, jovial human healer. He's a rotund man, large, bushy beard, and welcomes you all and comes up and shakes your hand heartily. So, he says in Elven, I believe you have some Typhira. Good. Yes, it's been hard to find in this last season. So, what's your price? And at this stage, I would like a trading roll, please. A mass trading roll.
From whom, Chris?
Whoever's making it.
I guess that's me. Sure. Seven. Why do I only roll high when it's masked? It's like, Chris, you've got some weird control over this bot.
Don't forget, a 77 could be even higher. What is his trading skill, please?
Well, so he's got I'm told you his trading skill is 24.
24.
So I've taken his just.
Cool. So it's a very lengthy discussion. Lady Saphira actually excuses herself, says she's got to get on with some work, and actually shuffles you out to the garden outside as you have this conversation. And it takes a long time, at least 4 hours, the entire morning. Brother Thaddeus, look, he's a nice man, but he does get quite sharp and quite pointy eventually regarding the price. However, eventually, after much discussion, much toing, much froing, and absolutely the best price you can get is 3,000 gold.
So Tarquin would take this back to the group and ask them what they think, noting that the buy price was 5,000 gold, and potentially we could sell it in other places.
I think that we've got Lady Athena Fernwillow still see if we can sell it too. So does it have to be final now?
No, Brother Thaddeus is happy for you to come back to him. It's a large amount of money. He realizes that. And he's happy for you to let him know later on.
Let's do that.
All right. A rinse and repeat. That will take the entirety of the afternoon, and that conversation with Fernwillow, another healer, means whoever is making that roll will not be able to meet Ulrich of Mandos. You can't do both at the same time. So a decision or a call or whatever you decide to do.
Right, so I guess Tarquin would ask the group, do we want me to go and talk to Ulrich, knowing I'm pretty good at detecting lies, and get a sense of, how bad this bad dude is? Or do you want me to stay and negotiate? Or do we want to negotiate and see if we can meet this guy the next day? I don't know what other people think.
See if we can put it off, yeah.
Okay.
Always get Mithan to do it. I mean, there's only about 6 points difference in their trading. And if Mithan can use the earbuds.
That seems very sensible to me.
Yeah.
If we can't put it off, can we put it off, Chris? I heard the dice roll.
Yes. Yeah, Lady Cyphera has heard or is aware that Ulrich of Mandos is very, very keen to get his hands on her book. He's probably less inclined to meet with you, but yes, he would be willing to delay. He's got other things to attend to. He could meet tomorrow morning, first thing.
What's team?
Sounds good. Let's do that.
All right.
Do it.
What are the things everyone up there?
Sister Athena
Okay.
Fernwidow is a half-elven healer dedicated to her holistic healing practices. Quite a beautiful younger woman. She seems quite demure, but you find Tarquin with another trading roll, please, that she is quite formidable when it comes to price. Give me a roll, please.
Chris, can I just check? So from a kind of a, sort of naturalistic perspective, Tarquin is also a half-elf. He's also young. He'd be wanting to charm the bejesus out of this person and might actually be genuinely interested in them.
Okay.
Right. Is there any value in a charm roll prior to? Because if there's not, we'll just go with the trading roll.
Let's just go with the trading roll, at least here and now. But good call. I mean, no, give me a charm roll. Give me a charm roll. Not fair. You should. No, good point. There's always the risk, though. You screw it up. What's the roll? Hello?
Sorry. So the charm roll would be 77, the trading roll would be 29.
Okay, let's just do one at a time. 77 plus, what's his charm?
96. Oh, no, sorry, 85.
77 plus 85. Yeah, look, that's successful, but she is wary. I'll give you a slight bonus for that. She is wary that this is about money, but yeah, you get a slight bonus. Give me a roll, please. So what was the roll for the trading? A 20...
29.
29. This is masked, of course. And what's his trading?
Sorry, I told you this before. It's a quarter of lie detection, isn't it? So 24.
Cool. Okay. Yep. After discussing the entire of the afternoon, all 4 hours, best price comes in at 3,500.
Well, I guess Tarquin would tell the group this and ask them what they want to do. His view would be to leave it.
I wonder if we can pursue any other healers? Herbalists?
Well, we got the third one, haven't we? How are we on time?
I'm sorry?
How are we doing on time?
Time?
Before
that's it for the day. So that's a huge sum of money is 4 hours worth of negotiation and chatting and talking about things. So that's it for today. There's one other person that Lady Cyphera is comfortable in introducing you to. That is Ella Dawn Whisperer, and she can arrange. Again, she says she's not a brokering house, but she's happy to make one more introduction for tomorrow afternoon. But that would be it.
All right, do it. But when are we going to get back to do our? How much time do we have?
It was sort of open-ended, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I just ask? Sorry, did we sort of forgot to ask Tarquin to have a discussion about the price of the stagii from Fernwillow?
Sorry, Pete, I missed that. What did you say?
Would that have been included in that 4-hour discussion? Of the price
Yes,
of
yep. Give me a purchasing roll for La Stagii.
$19. Sorry, T.
19. Oh, it's master, remember? Okay, and plus 24. Okay. Okay, so 20 times 3, 60, divided by... You guys are making the poor GM think. She is very, very happy to part with some Stagii for 2,060 gold.
So is that one dose?
One dose. That would fully...
We've had an option of 3,500, so that's of no interest.
What would that hit? One stat fully.
So one stat would go up to full potential, what it was before she got injured, and full temporary before she got injured.
Right. We would need that for preferably all 10 stats. So 20,000 GP.
I mean, that's outrageously expensive, right? It's impossibly expensive.
Yeah, I think that's prohibitive. I think we would be better going with that regain cells. But just bear it in mind, and we'll once we've finished got all the information we can make.
Oh, that okay. So that's the end of your second full day in Kel-Ty-Mon. Any actions? Anything I should be aware of? Next day dawns. What do you do?
To see the happy priest.
Okay. Who goes to the clinic for a third time on this occasion?
Well, I think Nathanel's not got the skill to do the negotiating, but she's happy to do in terms of talking old gods as a preamble.
And I guess Tarquin will do the negotiating with his trading skill from lie detection.
Okay. Anybody else going?
Etienne will stay away.
Yeah, if they don't like elves, I don't know if it's great for Grey to go.
Okay, Grey staying away.
Demos will go along,
Okay.
but sit quietly in the back.
All right. Leif? And Mithan.
I don't know about Mithan, sorry, because I don't have her sheet. So I'll leave that for Pete. Sorry.
Pete, are you with us? Hello?
Oh, sorry, I'm having trouble with my mute button. Yeah, sorry, life won't go. I don't see the advantage in Mithan going, so
Okay.
I think she thinks she should stay if that's all right.
All right. So, for the third time in as many days, you head back to Lady Safina's clinic. It's now quite familiar. In fact, you don't even need the guide to take you there. It's a grey, overcast day today, perhaps fittingly. And, yeah, you head inside, and there is indeed Lady Safina. She smiles at you. And bids you sit. You're not actually in this immediate room. You're off to one side, a meeting room, an antechamber with some comfortable chairs. Lady Safina looks a little bit nervous. She's kind of fidgeting somewhat, and kind of smiles winningly at you. She makes some small talk, asking about how your day's been and are you enjoying the delights of the city.
Yeah, I'll let Tarkin be the charming, and Nyathna will just speak the old god lingo when the bloke's there.
And I guess Tarkun would turn on the charm as hard as he can and lean in and say, kind of anything we need to know, last questions, last thoughts.
No.
Is there a heads up that might help us here?
No, I think just show your piety is probably the advice I would give you.
All right, I will. So let Nyathna start things off with the appropriate words, shall we say?
Okay.
And then I'll introduce you, Tarquin.
About 20 minutes later, the door opens, and this man comes in. He has on him very well-known sign. It's emblazoned on a tabard that he wears on his gown. It's the symbol of Mandos, the symbol of the god of death.
The end is nigh.
And into the room steps Ulrich of Mandos, the death priest. And clearly your imagination, of course, but does a little chill go up your spine?
I think so.
Does the sun perhaps flit behind a does the sun perhaps flit behind a cloud for a second or so? Something about this man just gives you all the creeps. Any reactions from people?
So Nyathna will bow low and address him in a respectful tone and a greeting that is in using the lingo franca of the old gods, and do her best to actually, do her best to sort of make the right first impression with as many religious references to the old god pantheon and stock sayings, yada yada yada, as possible.
Give me a roll, please.
Is it masked?
Of course.
Lucky I got a 4 then.
Roll again, please.
Hang on a minute. Was that? Did I actually roll that? Okay. $34.
Okay. Okay, and what's her skill?
Old Gods was, what did I say it was? 39.
Sorry?
39.
What type of skill does she have? Was it prayer, divinations, teachings of belief, sacrifice, or history?
Oh, gods. Law.
Just old God's law? Okay, so teachings and beliefs. Okay, +0. Cool. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, talk me through a little bit about what she says.
Well, obviously, I don't know the lingo, but essentially, she will give him from what she knows a fair amount about the god and the order and so forth. So she gives an approximate greeting and blessing that she thinks would be a trip. Now, her own beliefs, her own goddess is not perhaps a million miles away from this sort of character, but not quite as severe. So she will, use a phrase that she's heard used and give the appropriate blessings to the guy if blessings is quite the right word, but from best of her knowledge. And I don't know how to, not knowing myself, I don't quite know what to say, but what I can say is, she'll do her best to appear pious and to be welcoming and respectful to him and his creed and his religion.
He stares at you.
All right, cool.
He stares at your ears and your elven dress and turns to Lady Cyphera and says, "Woman, do you have the book?" She gets to her feet and she hands the book over. She had it beside her. He gives no indication of interaction with Niathal. Flicks through the book and just nods at Lady Cyphera.
Oh, fuck him.
He then
Niathal.
turns back. Sorry, Niathal.
Oh, she's not going to say a thing. She's not going to be if he's going to be a dick, then she's not going to bother. But unless he addresses her.
Okay. He turns back to you and again looks Niathal up and down.
She'll just look at him straight in the eye.
You have a companion who has gone on my path, my master's dark path, correct?
Niathal will say politely that is true, yes.
She has finished her dark walk.
She has.
Take me to her.
We are particularly the reason we have asked to meet with you is we have a herb we wish to sell, which we think you might be quite interested in.
Lady Cyphera is looking at you, just going.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't really want to let this person anywhere near Karios, honestly. So I'll just continue on that line of path, and if it doesn't work out, so be it.
I was told. He says again, take me to her.
So, as I explained, we are you interested in buying a herb? And she'll give the name of the herb.
It's not told of. He turns to Lady Cyphera. It's not told about any herb. What is this? And Lady Cyphera laughs, and kind of a nervous laugh. No. I think there has been some misunderstanding, and she turns and looks back at Niathal. This is a priest. He is not a healer or a herbalist. He is here to see if he can mend the damage done to your friend with godly magic. He is not here to purchase a herb.
I see.
Sorry for the confusion, Ulrich.
Oh, then my apologies. There's been a misunderstanding.
Will you take me to her? Says the priest.
I fear we are not in a position to repay anyone for services as it stands, sadly.
You have spoken well. You are clearly an elf of good faith.
I am, yes. I serve the old gods.
There are no other gods.
Sorry. Well, my knowledge of obviously, this is supposed to be difficult. I can't speak with the knowledge of my character. But I was under the impression the old gods was a pantheon.
Oh no! He's agreeing with you. There are no other gods apart.
Oh, but the old gods. All right, I got you. All right. But then I'll agree with the correct phrase.
He nods.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep the spiel going until I find out what he wants. But
I was told, again he turns to Lady Saphira, that you wanted me to see your companion.
guys, what do you want to do here?
I think he seems a bit too creepy.
In order to do what? So he's got the opportunity to increase her stats. We want him to do it. So I think that's what we need to do.
Pay him.
We need to work out how much, and then we need to tell him we need to get the money to do it.
All right. Well, Nathaniel will politely say, well, I mean, that is very gracious and kind. My only concern is that we currently lack funds, which is, and apologies for the confusion, but that's why we were looking to, we were under the impression that you were looking for this particular herb yourself. And apologies for that, but that's why I ask, is because we lack the funds to adequately recompense a man of your standing.
You're a godly woman, and I will take that into account when I see your companion.
Guys, what do you want to do here?
Could someone give me, by the way, just quickly, could someone give me, please, a roll of a dice? I'd like a perception roll from someone. Actually, not a perception roll, sorry. I'd like a... Just coming. Here we go. Can I have a 1d6, please?
A 1d what?
A 1d6.
1d6. Yes. Does it matter that Gray's not there?
That's fine.
2.
2. Okay, cool. And can you roll then a 1d8 after that?
1d8.
Mm-hmm.
6.
A 6. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. Interesting. Very interesting. He doesn't. This person doesn't appear to be particularly. He appears quite calm.
Well, I mean, Karios, see you, Alex. Do you want this person to see you so he can get a price? We can get a price for the treatment.
Is he going to give us a price?
I believe so.
Oh, he's creepy as. My gut feeling's no, but if he's just going to give us a price and that's it, then if everyone's in agreement, but he's...
Well, and Nathan will, I see. And Nathan will say, so you will be able to give us a price when you've examined
A price?
The patient?
I am not some common trader. I serve Mandos. I may ask on Mandos's behalf for a donation. But a price? No.
Well, whatever I say. I mean, whatever my character thinks the best words are.
Cool.
The most appropriate use of words to address someone of a priest of the old god's standing. Some affirmation from the rest of the party. This is a good idea, and maybe some lie detection.
Look, I think this is a good idea, and I think Tarquin would. He's there. He's standing next to Nathaniel. He'd use all of his lie detection to try and figure out, is this guy up front, just wants to help Tarquin, or is there an ulterior motive? That's the sort of lie detection he'd be interested in.
Give me a roll, please. Master, of course.
But he knows specifically the lie he's interested in. It's 17. And now I love the fact it's masked.
Cool. And what's his lie perception skill?
Uh, 75.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Giles, some comments coming into your chat now. Just a second. There you go.
So he would want to lean over. I presume he can lean over. Can he lean over and whisper into Nathaniel's ear?
She's right in front of this guy. He would hear.
Oh, that's fine. But the two of them are here. Okay, in which case I guess Tarquin would say, thanks for your honesty. So everyone's clear about that. That's
Okay.
And so you know, Chris, if he can do another lie perception roll, whenever it would be suitable from a game perspective, he.
Sure. Yep, sure. All right.
So are we all happy? Yep.
Yeah.
Not happy, but yep. Why?
Yep.
Yeah, roll that dice.
She's gone from dead to alive, right? Creepy dudes are going to be the people who help her. This is life. They're creepy
I
dudes.
reckon give it a go.
Okay. Well, and so with Nathaniel will say with permission of our host, yes, of course.
And at that, Lady Cythera visibly relaxes. Please come this way. And in short order, you're back in her examining room. Karios is lying, breathing on the slab. And this man, he moves slowly. There's no hurry about this man. Death takes its time, and so does this man. You are sure there's just something. Yeah. Your skin crawls. Demos, you feel like ants are under your skin looking at him. It's not good. Maybe he's just very severe. Sorry, just getting a bit of feedback there from someone. He places his hands on Kiros's body. Pauses. And closes his eyes. Turns back to you, or probably after about 5 minutes, and says to you, yes, I can help this child. And your good words and your godly nature, and he turns to Neathanel and just inclines his head, have moved me. He doesn't look moved. He doesn't look moved at all. But he says, have moved me. Mandos demands a price, however. 2 prices, in fact. The first is I can lay my hands on this child and I can increase her vitality, her strength, her quickness, her very constitution. I can increase all of these vital abilities. And I can increase them to the utmost skill and ability that I have in my body. Just to help players here. That is, for each spell cast, he can increase Kiros's either temporary or potential stats by 13. 13. Thanks to your rolling, Aiden. The donation that Mandos and Mandos's house would ask is for each time I give this boon, I give this life to your companion. 126 pennies of gold will find its way to the Doomkeeper. What say you? For that price, there is another price that this child must pay. She will be known by Mandos. Mandos watches and may require that his good work be returned to him at some point. I do not know my master's keeping, but know that there will be a mark on this child.
I knew there'd be a payoff.
What say you?
Life reflects art, right? That's life.
So how's this work out, Pete, in terms of cost?
13, 1, 3 for each spell. Well, it depends what our goal is, but for me, that's an absolute no. Because, for example, the empathy is at 0. The empathy is the most important stat because that gives her power points. She needs to we need it up to a 6. So for that stat alone, 86 divided by 13 equals, we need 6 spells, so times, what's the price again, sorry?
126.
126. So for one stat, for empathy alone, it's 706 gold. But she also would need her reasoning up probably by the same amount. So that's 1,400. So it's going to stack up very quickly.
To get her to full, by the way, of course, just to make her awake, just as a heads up, her stats are, just as a reminder, her stats are on 0, so she will remain in a coma until all of her stats that are on 0 are above 0.
So it depends. It does depend on what our goal for Karios is.
But to get stats all back to what they were, what would it cost us?
I can't quite calculate that because I have to count how many times you have to spell each stat. to give you an idea, the calculation I did before, when I assumed it was 30 per spell cast, yeah, instead of 13, I thought it was 30, was going to be 4,600 GP.
Right, so it's miles outside our capacity.
Roughly three times that, roughly 12,000.
And do we have a concept from what Kira said? I can't remember her name. The chief priestess of Hera in Landana. Because that struck me as being like massively less than this.
That's what I based that on. I thought that she could increase the stat by 30. I don't know where I got that information from. I could be wrong. My understanding was that her spell would increase it by 30, and that was going to cost 195 gold per spell. So 24 spells was what we would take. So 24 times 195 is 4,600.
Right, so we want to go back to Landana and we want to talk to, help me, Chris, I can't remember her name, High Priestess. And she was clear. She'd be up for that. I mean, that's what she said to us, right? Bring her back to life, bring her here, I'll look at her XP. That's
Okay.
what she said.
All right, well, Neathanol will, in the most, not using my words, but using her words, graciously say that I'm afraid, as mentioned, is beyond our means, and be polite about it, and thank him for coming out, and bless the gods and all the rest of that shebang, and say, unfortunately, we don't have the means to make that donation. I'm sorry for wasting your time, yada 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 yada.
There is no waste of time, and he holds up the book.
Great. So she'll, and well, if he goes to move, she'll bid him a respectful farewell and salutations, yada yada.
Okay.
Can I just check? Sorry, Chris. What was the party told about that healing in Landana?
Go back and listen to the video, but I think that you've got it about right. Lady Sophia turns to you and says, "Well, you've made your decision. A shame that I won't be able to see the child at least awake here." Actually, well, she wouldn't know that. Sorry. But she said, she just nods.
I would again say to her, would thank her so much for her unbelievable act of resurrection. Would let her know how incredibly thankful the whole party is. And if at any time in the future we have the possibility of bringing her back so Karios can pass on their thanks in person, I'm sure that the party will do that. So we will note her and notice her, and we respect her, and we'll do our living best when Karios regains consciousness to come back and let Karios thank her in person. I mean, coming back to life is pretty amazing. And we'd notice.
Okay, what do you do? She absolutely takes your words and acknowledges them and thanks you.
Well, I think we'll extricate ourselves from the situation and bow low, etc.
Okay.
That was all the people we had to meet, right?
Hmm.
Yep. Okay. Well, we'll fond farewells. Bugger off.
Okay. Interesting.
Still got Ella and Dawn Whisperer, right?
Yes. The next day. Yes. So yes. So a rinse and repeat. I'm not going to go through the description, etc. You do get to meet 1/3 last healer to try to sell. No pressure here, but to try to sell your Typhira for. Give me a roll, please.
So who's rolling, Chris? Me?
I don't know. I'm assuming so.
I speak the language, so why did that not work? 85.
85. What's your skill, please, Giles?
That's 24 in trading.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
109. Motherfucker.
Times. Did I get that right? No, I didn't. Better this time. 4,250 is after very long, a very lengthy discussion is where you settle.
So I think Tarquin would ask the team what they think, but I think at this figure, Tarquin would probably say we should do it.
Well, this is our last opportunity, isn't it?
Well, here we might be able to sell inland Dana, but we're going to have to go through the same thing, and this is
Probably cheaper.
better.
Cheaper there. Yeah, we're not going to find such.
I think we should do it. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Okay, we'll seal the deal.
All right. Mark off, please, your last precious way of bringing somebody back from the dead, and add on 4,200. That was a good roll, by the way. That was a very, very good roll. And mark on 4,250 gold. Nice work, Tarkin.
Chris, I'm going to take that as a thank you, team, for doing the right thing, and thank you very much, Pete. You'll do the marking off for you.
So, in the interests of this session, did not go where I expected it to, but in the interests of kind of moving the game forward, I'm going to do a bit of fast forward, like both in terms of time and in terms of just moving the discussions with your friends, the healer in Landana, the priestess at the Temple of Hera Akraya on a little bit, with your permission, unless anybody particularly wants to do or say anything.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, mate.
All right.
And Mason's off.
And what, sorry?
I think Mason's heading off.
Yes. Cheerio, Mason.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Enjoy the concert.
Thanks. I'll see you next time.
Alrighty. See you. Bye.
Yep.
Bye. Bye.
Yep.
So,
Fast forward.
fast forward is good. So, you repeat your journey that you've taken in reverse. This is the 19th. Karios revive 1, 2, 3 days. Now you actually 20th. You wait another 1, 2, 3 days in Landana. You travel on the 24th, and you arrive in Hathor that day on the 24th. You go to Huth. Again, there is a wait of 3 days, and on the 28th of Year's End, and I'll just show you some imagery of this. So you leave the beauty of Kel-Ty-Mon. You travel back via ship across. It's only a half day. It's not far. Across the ocean waves to Hathor. These strange people that worship wind and worship the gods, their own god of wind, not the old gods, but some quite strange. You haven't quite figured out this faith yet. Your host is Lemun, this woman here. She looks after you in her small, cramped but perfectly tidy apartment. You stay with her for 3 more days, and then she makes arrangements. And sure enough, you go the way you came. Carrying Keros's carrying Keros, she's now awake, in an open coffin, you decide, and you find your way back to Landana. You're met in Landana by your... Goodness, moved. Okay. By your guide, Myrna. She and you arrive by the you arrive, just as a reminder, via the navigator's column, which I thought I had put in, but looks like I haven't. Never mind. You arrive back in Landana, and we do need the sound effects for this. Just a second. Here we go. You're back in the slime and the filth and the heat and the unpleasantness and the humidity and the grime of a city that you now know, or you feel as though you know somewhat well. I don't know if it's a welcomed return to Landana, but you are now back. Oh no, and my my software just decided to go on the blink, and I suspect it might continue to do so. Just see if it's going to work, guys. Just see. Cross your fingers. Damn it. Okay, we're not going to have much luck there, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Did I mention I need a new computer? Which is coming. Just bear with me, guys. There we go. Back in Landana. That's where you're at. You reacquaint yourself with your guide. Her name is Myrna, an older woman, you'll recall. She meets you at the decaying, kind of dismal, poorly administered, poorly guarded navigator column, and takes you back to the safe house that you remember quite well. Just very quickly to refresh your memories, there you go there. See that up on screen. In the next day or so, the next day, you are taken back to a very familiar place, the Temple of Renewal, and you are reintroduced to High Priestess Aveline. And after quite some discussion, Sister Michelle is there, and you'll remember, Tarquin, that you did not have a very pleasant interaction with Sister Michelle, and as a result, you've found that the price to heal Karios has gone up by another 15%. What was your final calculation, Pete?
4680. So that was 24 spells at level 30.
Cool.
Sorry, by 30th level at level 13.
4640 times 100 equals 4640 divided by 100 times 15. So plus 4640. The grand price for that total is now 5,336 gold.
So, Chris, two things. One, is Tarquin in front of Aveline at any time?
I'm assuming you all went in to have this conversation.
In which case, he, once this has been discussed, and it's presuming we agree on this, he's going to cast Study. He'll only cast Study once he's clear that, whatever transaction's been agreed to.
What do you do regarding that price, guys?
That is, sorry, what was the total again, please?
5336.
5336. Just, so we're on 5979 gold minus 5336. That would leave us with 600 gold, 140 gold. So we can afford it. Later
Will that bring Karios back to being kind of fully powered up? Pete?
That was, just to run that by you, Chris, that was assuming the spell restores 30 stat points each cast.
Yes, it does.
And that would, I've got the numbers of, that would bring her, so that's the temporary stat up, is that correct?
They affect the spell. This is the power of godly magic. It affects both the temporary stat and the potential stat.
Oh.
So this is awesome.
That's really cool. So
yeah,
but only up to their previous levels, not above.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't have her previous levels. Do I?
Yep, you do. I did post them.
Well, I've got the one from last time, but that's got the potentials, doesn't it?
So that's where she's currently at. That's where she's currently at. Where Karios was before she was slain was as follows. Here we go.
Will this pull all her stats back to her potentials?
Twice we've got now, all her stats up to the potentials in the first picture. I didn't know that it would do it to the ones in the second picture. So that amount is not correct, it will be more.
Because you can't have the temporary stat, the potential stat needs to... You can't have higher than the potential stat, right?
Correct. I didn't realise, but I was, for example, I was assuming that her strength would only need one casting of the spell because her potential was 30, so I figured we were only bringing her back up to 30. I didn't realise we could go up to 49.
Yes, you could. You
yes, I didn't realise that, and I don't. Yeah, so that number I gave, is not what we could do. not the best stats we could get. So, but that number will get her pretty good on most of them, and we could do some negotiating about which stats that don't have extra spell stuff on. So she might be down in self-discipline or memory or something, but she would definitely need to be full on empathy and things. So,
So it was how many? 20, 27, 24.
I said 24 spells. Yeah.
24. Yep, that sounds right to me. 24. Now let me just check that. 24 times 30. 30 times 5. Hang on.
Times 13.
13, sorry. 13 times 30 times 5. Yep. So that's 195 each spell.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. 195 each spell. Cool.
Yep. So times 24 was
468. Yep.
4680.
Cool. 4680, correct. Plus a 15% on the top of that.
Okay. Do you want me to redo the? Well, I can now that sorry, I wasn't clear on exactly how to spell. I can redo them and we can redo the math. It's just offline.
Well, you're purchasing 24 of those, correct?
Well, if it's possible for her, we might be able to purchase a couple more. We still got 600 spare, or 600 gold extra. Then we just perhaps I need to have a wee chat with Alex, and we could. I don't know if it works that way.
Yep.
Another time between now and the next game, and we just talk about which stats need to be at full and which stats have to be less priority.
Okay. Again, you'll recall that a similar discussion was had with this person. Just a second. This woman here. So she came into her name is Sister Marion, and she is going to be part of the healing and assisting High Priestess Aveline. You'll recall that High Priestess Aveline had asked Sister Marion to do this on the basis that Karios would need to, once she was awake and healed, she would need to speak with Sister Aveline because Hera Akraya, her mistress, has touched Karios, and there may be, as the god of healing and the god of renewal, the goddess may request something of Karios via Sister Aveline, but that will happen once Karios is awake and conscious and able to function. So in other words, Karios needs...
Sorry, you cut out there.
Karios will need to come back and speak with Sister Aveline, and there will be something owed above money that Karios will need to have that conversation with Sister Aveline about. And if you remember, this woman definitely said that. In fact, she specifically said she will join us, or she will. She is willing, Mother.
Which woman? Sorry, I can only see Tarquin.
Sure, sorry. Just having a couple of technical issues. There we go.
Yep.
That woman there.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. What do you do?
So how does everyone else feel about how much money?
We should pay and do it, I think.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Alex, are you happy for... Sorry, out of game. Are you happy to have we catch up during the week or sometime? Alex?
Hello?
see your mute's gone off, but we can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Alex. So she said yes, and I think there's a problem.
Cool. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Alex. Okay, cool. So, I don't know. Do we want to continue assuming? I mean, we'll definitely get Alex's stats back up. Just not exactly sure of all the details.
Okay.
Exactly which ones to wear, but if we want to continue with her revival, well, I don't know.
Yeah, look, I think everyone wants this to happen. We've decided not to do it in the last place. There's no future place to do it that we've got lined up. Let's just do this.
Okay.
We've got the funds, and we can try and sell our Typhera here too, so we should
hold it.
Strike while the proverbial religious iron is hot.
We did sell the Typhera in the other place.
That's how you come. You've got the funding. Okay.
Yeah.
So that goes ahead. Alex, are you not able to join us? You're having internet issues. That's unfortunate. No, you're trying to speak and you can't. That's really unfortunate. Damn it. No. That's not your fault. Not your fault, Alex. It's all good. I really... Damn it. Just quickly, do you want to try logging out and logging back in again, or restarting the machine, or something? Yeah, maybe on your phone. Yeah, try your phone. It would be quite nice to have you on.
And Graham, are you okay with the plan?
Yeah, I mean, having started it, it'd be crazy not to finish it, right?
Yeah. All right. Okay, Alex, can you hear us? Can you speak? No. Okay. Okay. So, what are we? We're going to settle on that final price, Pete. What was it again? It was. Did you jot it down? I don't suppose you did.
Oh,
hang on, I'll do it.
5336 is what you said.
5 what? 336.
5336.
Thank you. Great.
Yep. But we might up that if it means one or two more spells will work better. So I'll do some numbers.
All right. Great. So this is taking place on the 29th, the day before. And Karios is healed. I don't believe it. Karios is healed on the 29th, which is the day before a very inauspicious day, New Year's Day. Year's End's Day. And Year's End's Day is one of the most inauspicious, most evil, ill-fated days in the entire calendar. But you are there just in the nick of time to make this happen. Absolutely, while you're there, Sister Michelle is definitely, clearly not enjoying Tarquin's presence, and definitely High Priestess Aveline her reception to you, and hence the price, has quite dramatically increased than when you were there last time. She is nowhere near as friendly as she initially was. But that's a pretty substantial amount of money. And she is happy to she is happy to cast those spells. It does take her quite some time to cast them all. Spends pretty much the entire day resting, casting, resting, and it will be a total of about 10 days until Karios. You're fully awake. So 10 days into the new year until you're fully awake. But, yeah. Karios, please, can we have, maybe, if the technology works for us, Are you able to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay! I'm on my data.
So last words of the game for you, and some. I will hand over to. I'll do a quick round of others, and I'll let Karios think of the first word she says as her eyes open back in the safe house. Others wanted to do anything that I should know about the session, please.
Nothing from me.
So Tarquin wants to cast Study on Aveline, and we'll also be trying to make amends with Michelle. But I'm happy to talk to you about that outside of this session.
Okay. Michelle doesn't want to have anything to do with you. You went out for a date with you, and she just doesn't speak with you, Tarquin. She refuses. Can you please cast Study? When do you? At what stage do you cast Study on the High Priestess?
This is going to be as late as possible. I want to make sure that everything has happened with Karios. She's well, resurrected.
Okay.
Everything is.
Okay, cool. So very, very, very late in the day, on the 29th. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Excellent. So, can you please attempt to cast a spell?
Don't like the way you put that. It's like when you say things are interesting. It's, I know. I rolled 68, but I feel I should have rolled that like impossible 66 or whatever it was.
Can you give me a description of the spell, please?
So I haven't got it in front of me. Hang on 1 second. I can get it. Give me 2 seconds. Also, it says caster studies and memorizes the appearance and mannerisms of a being for later use with another spell. And so to give you context, the purpose of casting study is so later, if Tarquin wants to pretend to be this person, he can look like this person and copy their mannerisms.
Sure thing. The spell goes off. This is basically just as you're heading out the door. You've prepped and all the rest of it. The spell definitely works. The High Priestess, the 30th level High Priestess, turns and looks at you not long after you cast the spell, and just gives you a very long, cool look, Tarquin, as you head off with Kairos's body. You walk back through the streets. The spell definitely worked, by the way. 100% it worked. You walk back through the streets, back through the safe house. Myrna is with you. She guides you all the way back. And I had made a miscalculation. I had actually thought that Karios needed another 10 days to be revived. But actually it was 10 days from when she was brought back to life for her to become conscious. So once her stats go, all of her stats go above either 1 or 2, which would have happened earlier that morning, Karios, not having to play it forward, actually on this very, very day, back at the safe house to give you some time to rest, your eyes flutter open, and for the first time in 1, 2, 3... Hang on.
15.
1, 2, 15. In 22 days, first time in 22 days, Karios, you're conscious. What do you do and say as your companions are standing around you?
Well, I'm going to say yay, but Karios doesn't say yay. 3 names. First two are a statement, the last one's a question. First name is Victory.
Mm-hmm.
Second name is Leif. Third name is Grey.
Okay.
Oof.
Wow.
Yep.
Anything else? Last word's yours. Anything else you do or say, Karios? Or is that where we leave it for today?
I think obviously she's heard, we know that hearing's the last sense to go, and she's heard everyone, and she knows she's safe, but they're her 3 words.
Why only 3 words? She can speak.
That's all. Yeah, she can, but she's been dead.
Okay.
And then unconscious and carted around and, much loved, of course, and she's obviously going to get into the ins and outs of who did what and be very grateful and try and, Tarquin and Etienne and, Demos and Mithra, everyone's done stuff, but they're her 3 words.
All right. And I think, unless anybody else has anything else they want to say or do, that's where we're going to put a wrap on it for tonight. Game over.
Holy moly! I'm so...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Didn't surprise you open your eyes and say, "It's a fucking spider!" It's got
No, amazing team, thank you. But where's my cat? Where's my cat?
Wow.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. Goodness me. I'm a little bit stunned myself. That took a lot.
Oh man, did it ever?
So much, and thank you. And we digress 100%. And yeah, Karios will be forever grateful, and she'll be wanting to know in detail who did what and who said what and what happened then, and then what did you do, and she'll be taking notes of just the incredible loyalty. Yeah.